This is a new year, a new beginning, and things will change. Those are the words of Taylor Swift, a very powerful motivational speaker. Looking into New Year 2022, I'm looking at changing a number of things. But of course, first of all, getting a pause to reflect in the past year, what I could have done better, but far much more over thinking and strategizing into the new year on what I can be able to take forward and be able to change things in my life. Of course, one of my key goals on things that I'll change is how I've managed my work-life balance. Balancing is always a challenge, but it's one of the key things that someone needs to broker if they're going to move and change their life to be able to meet new goals. The second thing will be I'll have a strong focus on in changing is really how I've managed my finances in addition to my family. Managing finances is key because everything needs resources, and financial resources are one of the key, most important things in order to move and be able to lift your life to another level. So lastly is managing time around my family. These three will be key for me: managing my work-life balance, managing my finances, and managing my time. Thank you. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Busi, over the past few months, there's been a surge of opportunities where I get to be your evaluator. You're making it more and more tough to evaluate you because we really literally had to look for those areas of improvement because you came prepared. It was very clear from the way you dressed, the way you set your camera, the fact that you had blurred out your background. There's usually an occasional one or two body that move in the background, but this time around it was not so evident. You were prepared in terms of your speech structure as well. The typical principles we learn: an intro, a body, and a conclusion. It was really easy to flow through with your speech. Absolutely loved the fact that you gave us definitions as well as examples of different leadership styles, although you primarily focused on two, which related to you. And that means you achieved your objective because your objective was to speak about leadership styles that relate to you, which were primarily the authoritarian. You know, when English has come by both, being an authoritative leader versus being a democratic leader. Yes, I've made a plan with my English. The key element was the experience you had when you started off in one institution and getting the feedback where you were seen to be too authoritative and taking in that feedback. I suppose those were the early days of being prepared for Toastmasters, taking that feedback and journeying through other experiences until you get to that point of having feedback sessions from colleagues at GIBS. Quite liked how you used your body language to make certain points, particularly faces, as well as vocal variety of individuals who provided the feedback to you. And the use of your finger at that point, it also got me, I can kind of see the kind of feedback that you anticipated or rather received from the survey. And you really had a great ending, which encouraged us to reflect as well. What type of leaders are we? What type of experiences have we gone through for us to take the time to reflect on the different leadership styles? If we talk about the areas of improvement, there are two primary ones. Firstly, speaking a little slower. And secondly, do mention the other types of leadership. As much as you focused on two that you've experienced, those who are listening in can pick up on the different styles as well and go read about them or start to introspect based on your conclusion. Say, okay, could I be this type of leader, which Busi may not have touched on in detail? Overall, it continues to be a pleasure evaluating you, and cheers to many more speeches.
My leadership journey started when I was 28, when I became the head of finance at a shipping company. Previous in all my other roles, I was working within a team. Before this role, I worked in very strict environments. This is where you will find the authoritarian leadership style. Common characteristics of the style is a leader that dictates, directs, and controls his team. This is where you will find that you will do as I say culture. Here, there's an expectation of consistent results in performance and no room for error. Authoritarian leadership style is effective in certain circumstances. It works well in the military, in the police, and in some industries like the construction and manufacturing industry. However, working in this environment left me extremely dissatisfied and unfulfilled in my career. It was toxic and competitive and often isolating. Over time, I started not enjoying going to work. However, this was my only exposure to leadership, and it became how I led the finance team in my new role, despite how this leadership style made me feel. When I left the head of finance role, one of the finance clerks came up to me and said, "I hope where you are going, you are not going to be so strict to the other people like you were to us." This statement took me aback. I realized that a leader can be very effective and produce consistent results for an organization, but still not being liked by their team. I switched forward into the next role, in my new role, where I had an opportunity to be part of a leadership program at Gibbs. This was a beginning of a new journey in my leadership path. It was at Gibbs that I first learned that there are different types of leadership styles. This was a big revelation to me. What do you mean? There is more than one way you can manage and lead people. The program at Gibbs started by understanding my personal leadership style by doing a series of psychometric tests. Afterwards, I had to do an anonymous survey where I had to give the survey to members of teams I had previously led. And I would like to share some of their feedback in the survey. She needs to learn to develop skills to motivate and inspire others. She wants to help everyone, but she must understand that it's not enough hours in a day. Learn to delegate. Watch the way she speaks to people. She sometimes comes off as authoritarian. These exercises help me assess how I naturally lead, how people perceived my leadership, and most importantly, understand that a leader can nurture and improve and develop their leadership style. This aha moment opened up a new path in my leadership journey and developed a new interest in leadership and me growing as a female leader. What is my leadership style? My dominant leadership style is the democratic leadership style. Sometimes it is known as the participative leadership style. In this leadership style, you work together in a team where everybody has a voice. I found that this is the best way to motivate and inspire people when everyone is contributing towards a common goal. However, this leadership style comes with a lot of work. I found that you have to love people. You have to learn how to interact with people outside the workspace. So I had to spend more time in understanding an individual, understand what are their goals and aspirations, and whether they are aligned with their teams and where they're planning with their careers. At times, this can be easily achieved by asking simple questions like, how is your day? Where do you see your career going in the next few years? And how can I assist with you? How can I assist with that? Or how are your kids doing at school? And those important team building sessions that most of our companies don't want to spend money on are also important in developing personal relationships at work. The democratic leadership style has also helped give better direction into my career. Now, I prefer to work in organizations that have a collaborative environment where there is mutual respect across all levels of staff, and where organizations give tools to support individuals and teams. As I progress in my career, I am looking to develop more qualities of a democratic leader, such as being a multitasker, improving job satisfaction amongst people in my team, and learning to be better at conflict resolution. I'm also looking forward to a new year, new me, as I learn through leadership in this pathway, as well as gaining more leadership competencies at Toastmasters. My question is to you: what is your leadership style? And most importantly, how do you like to be led? Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.